I think it's important to understand, Vanessa, last thing I'm going to say, you're never trying to hit up on the golf ball with your swing. You're trying to hit up on the golf ball with your setup. That's an unbelievably important statement for most golfers to understand. Think about when they try to hit up. They're doing it typically from a bad setup, and they're backing up and helping up to do so. Whereas, you know, the ability to be able to almost feel like I hit down through the ball, even though if you look at it on a TrackMan, it would still say it's pretty level to not hitting up a little bit. And that's because my setup has the ball that much in front of my center, and I'm back behind it already loaded at the top of my swing and in my setup. All right? That's so good. Okay, we're rolling. Here we go. So I have Vanessa here, who Vanessa is going to be heading off to Wisconsin. She's going to be a freshman this year, and I'm incredibly proud of her. She just played in the U.S. Women's Amateurs, become one of the top girls in her class, and has one of my favorite golf swings. She has a really cool lower body action through the golf ball that you guys are going to see today. She's coming today with a very small request that we hit it farther and straighter. So who doesn't want that? So I figured you guys should tune into this because we're going to get that going. Number one, though, before we hit the driver today, oh my gosh. So the Women's Amateur this year was played at the Country Club of Westchester, right? Westchester Country Club. And Westchester Country Club is one of those really old school USGA spots. Unbelievable head cover with the city skyline. I love New York, the pizza, the cab, Statue of Liberty, and the subway, of course. So anyways, I figured our viewer had to see that because it's pretty awesome. And the U.S. girls from Merido, you're representing all over. Yeah. That's awesome. She played the four ball with Karen, right? Karen Suru? Yeah, awesome. Didn't you guys do pretty decent? Like, didn't you go?
Yeah, I was like match play of 16.
Oh, Sweet 16? Awesome. I figured. I thought it was Sweet 16. All right, so we're gonna go out front today, get some good balls going. Show me what you're doing. All right, let's go fairway for you. We'll make it real tight. We'll go right between the white and the green.
Okay.
Just right, yeah, that little tiny 5-yard gap out there, okay? That's the center of your fairway.
Okay.
We're gonna make it your whole fairway, but little right, little left is totally fine, okay? For those who didn't see that ball flight, it's really nice. It comes off like a bullet. She hits it really well, even though she wants more out of it. It's still good. Hey, let me ask you one question before I tell you what you need to do better, because I see something in our setup that's going to help us right away. What did you learn? Because not everybody gets a chance to play a USGA event. It's like the coolest thing ever. What did you learn from the USGA event? Did you learn anything about your game? Did you learn anything about the style of golf course that maybe there's some shots that you need to have that you didn't have?
Yeah, I noticed that most of the players, they just set up really quick and they just and then just hit. That was very fast. So
some of the best amateurs in the world too, right? I mean,
yeah.
They're setting up to the point, and do you feel like sometimes in big moments, maybe sometimes people just stand over it too long or think about too many things? So was that something that kind of helped you just get into a better rhythm after? Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because you know what's funny? I noticed that myself amongst the really good players that were in the U.S. Amateur when I was there with Brian and Cameron and those guys. It was amazing to see that when you're in a rhythm and you know what you're doing, it moves really quick. I mean, I'm the caddy and I'm sitting there trying to still come up with the number to the green, and this guy's already has the club out, totally set, ready to hit the golf ball. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad you feel good about it. Let's go ahead. You know, but it does move pretty quick. And I think a big part of that, though, is a lot of the better players are already projecting what their next shot's going to be after they hit their previous shot. So letting it go and not worried about what you just did, but already looking ahead, maybe in the yardage book, figuring out where that ball is going to end up based upon where you just hit it, and starting to do the math for the next golf shot about where the pin is. Those details, I feel, the better players are getting as they're going up the fairway to their next shot, where many wait till they get to the shot, and then they're doing all that math, and then they're doing all their thinking. So, you know, that's something that would be a good advice for you even in college, because, I mean, college golf, it's long days. So when you get out there, making sure that you do a good job of, you know, hey, what just happened. I'm already on to my next shot. I have approximately this far, but you know what? I'm going to be minusing 11 for the pin. It's definitely going to be a little bit into the wind, so I'm going to have to add some more yardage. You already have a notion of what it is you're doing prior to pulling up. So that's a good way to speed up play too. Speed up play. I saw this Smokey the Bear like shirt the other day. He was pointing. It says, "Only you can prevent slow play," and I thought that was awesome because slow play is getting ridiculous with so many people these days. All right, here we go. Big thing. Not even going to take a video of this. When you set up, the insides of your feet should be more to the outsides of your shoulders. Right now, you're a lot narrower than that, so you've taken kind of that the knockdown shot that we worked on with wedges and whatnot, which requires a little narrower stance, more weight on the left side, and it looks to me like the driver has that too. So if you get a little wider, if we bump that hip up a little bit, now what that's gonna do for you, Vanessa, it's gonna allow you to get 60% of that weight on the inside of that right leg because the right leg's supporting the upper body, which is tilting back as a result of that hip bump. Your goal is to really get your left shoulder behind the golf ball. So if you can get your left shoulder to your right foot and the ball up on the inside of your left, you now have a lot more time to create some speed, and you buy the club some more time to then hit the ball at the appropriate angle. Notice how your ball comes off real low and tight there. It's fine, but that's a lot of times just being very centered over the golf ball, having that ball right here according to the body center. So I think that if you can separate your stance a little bit, little hip bump, get more weight back here, you're gonna load deeper into your right leg without really having to sway, but just having to turn, and then you'll have a lot more time to send the ball on its way, okay? Give it a try, set up. I'm gonna put this right between your feet here, and we'll go right here to where you can set up now with your foot on the outside of that. Good, and that ball should really be, if anything, maybe an inch inside left heel to left heel, never more than that. Now with your stance, here's your shoulder width. So you should have your right foot on the outside of that. Okay, there we go. And then Vanessa, when you bump that left hip of yours, it's gonna place that pressure more on the inside of your right foot. Good. Now really turn that left shoulder back to your right foot. Oh. Do you see how much higher that launched? Hey, so this is really big because we worked on a wedge lesson prior to today, and I think this is really important. I'm gonna pull my wedge out here just so you can see this. So if I'm setting up, go over here with Gabe just for 1 second so you can see this. If I'm setting up with a wedge, the ball is much more centered in my stance. My feet, the outsides of my feet are on the outsides of my shoulders. Now, when I make that 1 inch hip bump, I'm feeling really the weight build up more towards the outside of my left. When I'm setting up with a driver, I now have the insides of my feet to the outsides of my shoulders. And when I make that same hip bump, I'm feeling the majority of the weight load on the inside of my right. So very important to differentiate the two. People bump the hips, and a lot of times they think that's automatically going to put weight up on the front foot. The reality is, for irons, for lower irons, for wedges, that's great. But once we get a wider stance and we keep our sternum still as we bump our hips, that leaves my upper body behind the ball and allows for the weight to load here and be supported by this position. So understanding this position here, and then being able to turn around your spine and automatically be on the inside of my back foot, and then open up and be right on the inside of my front. Okay, so I just think it's important when you bump your hips to understand you're always leaving this exactly where it is, and then that allows the ability to turn behind it. That's where that left shoulder can get back to your right foot without you feeling like you have to move your head to do so, okay? A lot of time players just don't give the ball position, enough. They don't get it enough up in the stance to where they really allow the club time to square up. It's too close to the body center. Makes it real tough to get the proper angles to square up and hit it high. Now I know it's dead straight. I know you caught a little off the heel, right? A little low on the face, yeah. Now whenever I want to gain distance too, okay? This is like the second part of it. So we need a setup that's going to better turn you behind the ball, load your weight into the inside of your right without really having any sway. Okay, that's the goal. Now, from there, think about it like this too. The nose and the sternum are the top of your pendulum, right? They're the top of the pendulum. The low point essentially is right underneath the top. Well, if the ball is just barely ahead of the low point, it never has time to do what? Swing back up, which is what really can project the golf ball and get it to be flying, get it flying maximum distance. That's why it's so important we get the ball position. So, shape of the body, that's going to promote the big turn. We always call it loaded lower body, coiled upper body. From there, I would really work on being smooth with your backswing and letting it build up. I know that's a tendency of ours is to have a little fast hands in the start. I don't mind that because I want your rhythm to be good. But there's something to be said about you're not pulling the bow and arrow back like this. It's, watch. That look. That to me feels like my core and my legs have really moved my arms to the top. I don't feel like my arms have raced up there, which I believe will help you load the weight in the back foot simultaneously as the arms and hands arrive. I make a big deal about telling you this because I feel like every swing you make, regardless of the club, should have the same intent. Always getting to that point of completion, even if it's a half swing, complete it to its spot and have it connected to the body center, okay? That'll give you more pop, more distance, and more accuracy. Beautiful. Dang, Vanessa. Hey, what's gonna be really cool about going to a big university too? You're gonna have the club companies show up, and they're gonna be doing kind of like, not like a demo day, but basically kind of like a demo day, showing you their new equipment, hoping that you like something better than what you have. I'm not big on changing equipment when you find something that you like, but I do believe that technology is pretty incredible. And I watch what happens to myself when I put a new driver in my hand sometimes that was just a year or two older, and all of a sudden that ball just goes 12 yards farther, and you're like, I just did the same thing, and the ball just went, so utilize those companies to help you match up the best shaft and golf club for you, because there are combos of shafts and heads that just, you just don't even know it's out there and it even exists, but once they do it and once the experts get in there and help you a little bit, it's amazing. Sometimes you pick up 10, 15 yards of pop with just a little couple tweaks in the adjustments of the driver. All right, so definitely take advantage of those demo days, because I think there's a fine line there. You don't go trying things to the point where it changes what you're doing technically, but you just, you let them know, hey, these are the holes in my bag of where I feel like I can get better, and just let me know if there's anything you could put together based upon what I have that would be better. Okay? Yeah. You go to college, you're used to getting things like dad and you go to the store and stuff like to get things. Now it's like it's there for you, and I think it's important to take advantage of that. Really utilize the resources. All right, here we go. She hits it really well, doesn't she? One thing that you want to do because of where you were, because of where the ball was, you really had to really stay back on it because the ball was so centered. You can really feel like now that you're almost hitting not just the ball, but the imaginary couple of golf balls that are in front of the ball. Does that make sense? Like try to drive the club through the golf ball longer. Just kind of creating a visual there. I used to do this all the time. Practice logo on the back of the ball. Try to feel like, because now you're going to be hitting up naturally with the setup getting wider, more of a U-shaped swing rather than a V-shape. How about this? Ball position further up. Club's going to swing up into it further ahead of the top of the pendulum we get, the more it's going to swing up naturally. So now you can have the mindset that you're trying to hit through it, which really keeps you in your posture and has you hitting more level through the golf ball, and you get more of that wall-to-wall impact that really makes the ball jump, okay? All right. I think it's important to understand, Vanessa, last thing I'm going to say, you're never trying to hit up on the golf ball with your swing. You're trying to hit up on the golf ball with your setup. That's an unbelievably important statement for most golfers to understand. Think about when they try to hit up. They're doing it typically from a bad setup, and they're backing up and helping up to do so. Whereas, you know, the ability to be able to almost feel like I hit down through the ball, even though if you look at it on a TrackMan, it would still say it's pretty level to not hitting up a little bit. And that's because my setup has the ball that much in front of my center, and I'm back behind it already loaded at the top of my swing and in my setup. All right? Okay.
That statement just like, I just got enlightened.
You're hitting up on the ball with your setup. Ball position, width of stance, hip bump. You're not doing that in your swing. Unbelievably important right there. Dude, your game just got so much better, Gabe.
Dude, it's like my mind just exploded.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Porzak golfers are great drivers of the golf ball. We hit the ball very hard, very straight, and I think it's... Okay, so this is going to be really good. Go ahead and set up again here. I'm going to toss you a couple good balls. I'm going to have you go through this setup change right here. I'm going to get you in, Vanessa, like what I would say is the optimal I'm going to bomb it setup, okay? Here it is right here. All right, so Gabe, get a good view of here. And you're going to set up over it, and I'm just going to mold your body right into what it needs to be. This is going to be like a sculpture right here. Instep, good. Move it more to the instep, more to the instep. Give me another inch of width. Okay? Hike that hip slightly up and really feel like the shoulders stay back. So like right there. And yes, that to me is the I'm going to hit it hard setup. Now ready for this? Feel like when you make this bump forward, that if anything, the upper body goes 1 inch this way as the lower body goes forward. Don't let the upper body go forward with the hip bump, okay? Yes. Now really just turn your chest right over your right side and just let it go. Oh, close. Hey, Vanessa, put your feet together like this and step back and just stop at the top after you step back into your right side. Like step really wide back and hold it at the top. That's the feeling I want you to have. That's the feeling. Do that one more time. Yes. Look at this. Like, do you see how much more behind it you are there? If I were to show you what this looked like in a real swing, your shoulder would be right there. That one gets behind it. That right there, that's gonna just rip the golf ball. You can see how the ball's out here. You're way back there, and you have all that room now to really get into it. Okay, awesome job. Yeah, the step back drill is a great drill for feeling where you need to be at the top of your swing. You just go together and just. And it really loads that pressure down there. I like to step back nice and wide. Okay, so more weight on the right side to start. There you go. That right there. Beautiful, Vanessa. It's a great setup right there. It's okay. I know it's just drawn a little bit on you, but that right there was a much better setup and turn. Hey, last thing, just technique-wise, like as far as the golf club, the club does get just a hair shut on you at the top, with the club face getting a little bit towards the sky. Very easy fix for you. Toe more up and in front of you. Turn it to the top, toe more down, rather than just being fast and letting the club go like that. And that, if you can just get the club face a little bit more matching your spine angle right there, you're going to see that those shots are going to be a lot straighter. Yes. Yes. Stay right there. Yes. Okay. There we go. Go back to the spot again. Ideally, you're just, rather than being kind of right there, you're just right here. Okay. There you go. Perfect. And believe it or not, that's matching your spine angle. Probably feels like it's a little open. Perfect. There you go. That's a much better setup right there. Have you met any of the girls on the team yet? You have? That's awesome. All right, let's hold this one at the top, okay? Go to the top of the swing. Feel that shoulder just get all the way back there. Awesome. And then remember what I always tell you. Get those arms flying through impact. You're gonna push off that right side. And when you push off that right side, not only are you pushing your hips open, you're pushing your arms through impact in front of your body, okay? The more behind the body the arms get, the more around that ball you'll get it. And you typically, because you're good, because you always finish the swing, it'll, if anything, maybe overturn a little. If it doesn't and doesn't catch up, where's it going? Just a little bit right, okay? So try to feel the same exact load to the top and get those hands going through impact, okay? Should straighten out the ball flight immediately. Beautiful setup. Lot straighter. You know what's cool too is the school most likely will have, because it's like, you know, you're up in months of the year out there in the snow. And yeah, so one thing, you know, they'll probably have is good simulators, good track bands, stuff like that. You can, you know, keep an eye. I'm not big on getting numbers all the time. I'm really not. But one thing that I do like the players to do is keep track of the swing speed, keep track of those carry distances, always be trying to work that in the right direction. Don't see it decrease, right? Go ahead and set up again. Yeah, I want you to come around the front. So one thing I would tell you, you don't want to over bump to the point at which you feel like you can't get back behind it, right? Watch how minimal I do this. It's more of posting my hips up this way, kind of back and forward that way. And if you look at my chest, it stays, it's almost like the hips go this way, the chest goes that way. And this keeps me real square, but it definitely keeps my upper body more on the right half of my stance to where I can really turn into my right side, okay? Just wanna make sure you keep that really sharp. Don't over bump those hips, just tiny. There you go, Vanessa. That's the best one right there. That'll help you turn behind it more. That's so good.
Adam, how far does she hit it for her size? Because I'm looking at him like, she looks like she cranks it.
Oh yeah, she's, first of all, one thing people need to know about this one, she's unbelievable. She'll be doing like perfect and winning golf tournaments and shoot 500 in a high school match back in the day, and then would come to me afterwards and go like, here are the 8 things I need to do better. And I'm like, fantastic. We'll get to those, but I also want to tell you you're pretty awesome too. But yeah, Gabe's sitting there making a good point. He's like, geez, this girl, I mean, I'm not big, we all know. And like, yeah, come on.
I'm like 5'2".
So the whole point is, you bomb it for your size. Now, it's because if you watch her, she really gets her lower body moving. I mean, she really, really gets her lower body moving. Now, one thing we've always worked on with her is making sure her arms are really connected in the back. So it was the first thing I ever worked on with a couple years back, right? Where I just talked about, hey, if you have extra arm swing with as fast as your hips move through the golf ball, it's tough, you know, but like Brianna Navarosa comes to mind. She has that, really gets those hips opened up as well. You can refer back to the old YouTube videos and watch her and compare Vanessa. They both have that same action. That's how, you know, a girl that's not too big can get that distance. But I mean, I think Gabe asked a question. How far are we hitting it when you're cranking it? What's it going?
Total?
Yeah, total.
Oh, like 240 if I crank.
If you're cranking, yeah, about 240. I mean, that's good though. That's really good. And you know, that's an incoming freshman you haven't even been through the whole college workout yet. I mean, you're gonna be waking up in the morning, you're gonna be getting those legs moving, you're gonna be then hitting the gym. I mean, my advice to the ladies especially is if you wanna set yourself apart, guys too, I mean, obviously, the gym time in college, take it seriously, like real serious. You gotta show up there. As my dad said, you know, Adam, just be present wherever you are. You know, if I'm in the gym, hey, I'm 100% there. I'm in the classroom, you're 100% there. It's hard. I was like 100% of my time, even in the classroom, on the golf course in my mind. But I will tell you, the gym is incredibly important because the legs, she has strong legs. I mean, I think that's a big part of it. Because if you don't, There's no way you're hitting it that far. But hey, goals though, we should be trying to clear that 250 mark before Christmas. Like you come back for Christmas and our average drive should be over 250 total. If we're flying at like 230 or something, okay, we can do it. But yeah, Gabe, she does pound it for her size. She absolutely pounds it. Thank you guys so much for watching our video. Any questions or comments you have, please leave them below. Also, click the link below to pick up 3 free videos. We appreciate you guys. Enjoy our channel.